On the 112th episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast, we have some MLB midseason updates, a major HatTrick Sports update. The NBA released their schedules. We're going to be ranking the top 5 most home runs by a player in an MLB season, and ending it off with some Hall of Fame, yay or nay. Roll it. Welcome to HatTrick Sports, starring your host, Isaiah Carpenter. Bringing you the biggest sports headlines every week. This is the HatTrick Sports Podcast. I forgot to do it in the intro, but make sure to use code HatTrick Sports for 10% off your W order. By using code HatTrick Sports, you can get 10% off at w.gg. All right, let's get started with this podcast. MLB. We are starting off with MLB news. The Brewers are on a 14-game winning streak. It is their single season record. But that being said, they have won 16 straight, just not in the same season. So what happened was, let me scroll down here. Yeah, from 1986 to 1987, their last 3 games in 1986, they won their last 3 games, and then they started the season off in 1987, winning 13 straight, which made that, 13. Yeah, they won their first 13 in 1987. So technically, the single season record is 13 games, which the Brewers have just surpassed. But overall, if you're counting the last 3 games of the 86 regular season, it is kind of like 16. So that's cool for the Brewers. The Brewers are the best team in the MLB right now. They've been back a lot. They've been having to come back from behind a lot in this 14-game stretch. But yeah, today, actually, in about an hour, they will play the Reds. And if they win that would be 15 games, which is unbelievable. The Brewers are incredible this season. And I feel like they're just now kind of coming around. Like, I feel like not a lot of people are talking about the Brewers, and they should be. I don't know if it's just because of the division. It's like they're up by so much that nobody cares. But yeah, the Brewers just on fire this season. They are 78-44 at the time of this recording. Obviously won their last 10 games. But yeah, they have been on fire. Best team in the league. No other team has. Yeah, the Phillies have. Oh no. God. The Phillies have 70 wins. The Dodgers have 70 wins. The Blue Jays have 73 wins. The Tigers have 73 wins. The Astros have 69 wins. No, the Brewers have 78 wins. Unbelievable by the Brewers. The Brewers have been incredible this season. And I know it's a little early to say this, but definitely World Series contenders. Obviously, in the MLB, the postseason is like, as long as you're in, you have a chance at winning the World Series. We obviously saw the Rangers and Diamondbacks one year. So as long as you get in, you have a chance at winning it all. But the Brewers, they just been so dominant. Now, I just hope that they don't have that huge crash. You know what I mean? Usually after you have a massive winning streak, sometimes there's that big crash. Like it builds up, and then it just all falls down. But again, they're up by 9 games against the Cubs. They won't have a problem making the playoffs, and I don't think they'll have a problem in that winning the division. But I only say that is because the Dodgers were up by 9 games ahead of the Padres, and then the Padres actually caught back up there for a day or two. But I don't see a world where the Cubs can catch up, especially this late into the season. Yeah, we're halfway through August. There's no shot that the Cubs can catch up. Let's talk about the MLB Player Weekend. So this is the second year in a row that they've brought back the MLB Players Weekend. They stopped it for a while because of Rich Hill and the D Mountain, which is dumb. Like, it's the dumbest thing ever. But this is the second year back. They don't have the nicknames on the back, which was a big part of the Players Weekend. Actually, right here, Canada and Australia are playing each other in the Little League World Series. I believe the Mets and Mariners are there. Yep, they just cut to it. Yeah, the Mets and Mariners are there for this game. There's Randy Arozarena. But yeah, this week, by the time this comes out, they will have just wrapped up the MLB Players Weekend. And again, without the nicknames, the really thing that sticks out, that's different about the Players Weekends, is like the bats and stuff. So I'm gonna go over these are some of the best custom bats that the players were using during Players Weekend. The Rays. The Rays had let's go over to Harrison Bader. Harrison Bader, if you guys remember in spring training, the training bat where he had, I don't know if it was made of glass, I don't know what the bat was made out of, but it was the Chug Jug bat and it had some sort of blue liquid in it. Again, I don't know how that is physically possible, but he was like training with that bat. And I don't know how it didn't crack with 95-mile-an-hour fastballs being hit with that. I don't know if it's some sort of like tempered glass. I don't know what it is. But he basically had Victus make a wood one of them, because in the MLB you have to use a wood bat. And it actually didn't come out that bad. You can see it has those like millimeter measurements on them that the original bat didn't have. But, you know, it's cool nonetheless. Everybody's talking about Juan Soto's bat. Juan Soto's bat's not that cool. If we really think about it, Juan Soto's bat's not that cool. One of the best bats, Drake Baldwin, his Players Weekend bat was Perry the Platypus. It says, what does it say? Old Hickory, Greensville, Tennessee. That must just be the company that made the bat. That's a cool bat. Perry the Platypus bat. With Players Weekends, they want... the MLB wants the players to have like gear centered around like off-field interests, causes and like appreciation and stuff like that. So you saw like Freddie Freeman has his bats of each one of his sons' names. Cal Raleigh has probably the best bat of Players Weekends, and I'll explain why this is so funny in a minute. But Cal Raleigh, it's a regular bat, whatever, but on it says big butt, even bigger bombs. But what makes this bat so much more funny is that they didn't change the font. It's just like Canvas Sands, just like the normal font, and it's hilarious to me that they kept that font. It's like all lowercase, I don't know. It's just hilarious. Big butt, even bigger bombs for the big dumper Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh's unbelievable. This is his breakout year. Cal Raleigh has had a great season. I think he's at 47. Is it? Bro, is he at 47 Cal Raleigh home runs? He's at 46 home runs right now, and it's August 17th. He's going to beat Salvador Perez for having the most home runs by a catcher in a single season. Unbelievable. Another great bat was Marcelo Myers' Lightning McQueen bat for the Players Weekend. That's really cool. They have like a 3D effect on the eyes. That's pretty cool. It's the Victus bat. It just looks pleasing. Kind of looks spray painted. You know, like when you go to the fair and they got like those spray painted shirts, or like they spray paint a picture of you. You know what I'm talking about? That's what it kind of reminds me of. It just kind of looks spray painted. Alex Bregman did too much with it. He had one of what's the Fenway's the green. Why can I not think of what's the Red Sox mascot? The green. It's not the Green Monster. It's not Orbit. What? Why can I not? What's the Red Sox mascot? No, does the mascot not have a name? Oh, I thought... Oh, Wally. Wally's his name. Yeah, Wally. Then he had some other ones. You know, it's just not that cool. You know, maybe it's because he was with the Astros for a little bit. I'm just not a fan of it. Same thing with Trey Turner. He did too much with it. You know, you can have a couple bats or two, but he has one that says Turner that's pretty cool. But other than that, like, you just got to know when to stop. You know what I'm saying? And like I was saying earlier, Freddie Freeman had one of each of his kids' names, Charlie, Brandon, and Maximus. So that was cool. The Roman Empire comes to life for Players Weekend. He has a, what is that? Is that supposed to be beer? A beer? I don't know what that's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a warrior, like a Roman Empire, from the Roman Empire. But yeah, it's cool for Players Weekend. Again, I wish they had the last names. I think that would have made it a lot better if they had the last names on the back of their jerseys, but they stopped doing that. What I think that they should do for the Players Weekend is everybody liked the different last names on their jerseys. And what they should do is have the players submit what they want their nickname to be on the back. And if they deem it to be inappropriate or whatever, or not valid or whatever, send it back and have them change it. But I think that the big part of Players Weekend was for them to have the last name on their jersey, a different last name, like a nickname on the back of their jersey. And don't they? I don't know if they still do this. Again, Players Weekend from like 2020 to 2024. It wasn't a thing, but before that, they like did the shaking hands things. You know, like after Little League games, they shake hands and everything. They did that. They used to do that. I don't know if they still do that or not. They might not. I don't know. Maybe it's got too competitive to not do that. All right, so that is MLB Players Weekend. Let's talk about all these guys on the IL. What is happening? So let's talk about the big guy. Just last night, the Phillies ace, Zach Wheeler, is on the 15-day IL for a blood clot near his shoulder. I guess it's this shoulder. But yeah, he was apparently sore the last week or so, and he was getting better, and he pitched, and then he was on the IL with the blood clot. And again, I'm not a doctor. I don't really know, I know what a blood clot is, but I don't know how severe it is. It's, again, supposed to only be on the 15-day IL. The president of baseball operations for the Phillies said, he said that there's not a lot that we can say on it at this time. He says it could have been much more trying situation than it is. Again, I don't know what that really means. This is what was earlier in the week. He said he felt heaviness. So the doctors here are great helping him diagnose the diagnosis this morning, whatever. Zach Wheeler is on the 15-day IL, which is okay because you think about it. All right, he's on the 15-day IL. Let's say at most he misses 3 starts. The Phillies are still ahead of the Mets by 5 games, so it's not going to affect the Phillies that much. They're already up by enough where I think it's safe to say that they're locking in a playoff position. We're at that time of year where, he kind of locks in the playoff position now. The team. But another guy on the IL, Max Muncy, the third baseman that I hated for years up until about May of this year. It sucks. Max Muncy, he's been bad for the last couple years, and then all of a sudden, this year in May, he decides to turn it on, and then he's got injured twice. He's been on the IL twice. He was diagnosed with a grade 1 oblique strain and landed on the injured list on Friday. Right as the Dodgers are getting into a little trouble with the Padres. Now, luckily, the Dodgers are 2-2 in against the Padres so far this series. They play again today. Don't know how it's not Sunday Night Baseball, but whatever. That's fine by me. But Muncy was a late scratch for Wednesday's lineup after feeling soreness in his right side during pregame batting practice. The Dodgers hope was that sitting out for the finale against the Angels and getting the extra rest and the Thursday day off would allow Muncy to return, but nope, he's on to return against the Padres because we kind of need him against the Padres. The Dodgers and Padres are back-to-back right now in the division, but nope, they just put him on the IL with a grade 1 oblique strain. Dave Roberts says that it's not supposed to be season ending and that he should be fine. As long as he's good for the playoffs, I'm happy, and as long as he stays good, he doesn't turn back to the 2024 self that he was for, I don't know, he was horrible. But it sucks that Max Muncy's on the IL. And let's go over some MLB standings while we're at it. MLB standings. We already kind of talked about the AL East. The Phillies are 5 games ahead of the Mets. Marlins 7 games behind that. Then the Braves. I never thought that in 2025 the Marlins would be better than the Braves, but here we are. The Marlins. Are the Marlins looking at a? Are they looking at a playoff spot? MLB standings. Are the Marlins looking at a playoff position? Let's go to wild card. No, they're not even close. Actually, they are. How many games back? They're 7 games back. No, they're not. Yeah, wild card. They're 7 games back. Yeah, so they're not making the playoffs. They're not the Marlins aren't making the playoffs, but they're doing pretty good. Oh, I didn't even see the record. They're 58-65. Nobody under 500 should make the playoffs. Is that safe to say? Like, you just automatically not in the playoffs if you're under 500. But yeah, the Nationals suck too. The Nationals just got their 50th win actually, just a few days ago. But yeah, they are now 20 games back, the Nationals. The NL Central, you have the Brewers. The Brewers are 9 games ahead of the Cubs. 27 games back is the Pirates. Paul Skeens is the only one keeping them alive, and they're barely alive. Let's talk about the NL West, the Dodgers. The Dodgers are just a game ahead of the Padres. So the Dodgers and Padres play this weekend series at the time of this recording. Then the Dodgers play the Rockies, which should be an easy 3 wins. And then they play the Padres again next weekend. So the Dodgers and Padres play each other 6 times in each of their next 10 games, which is unbelievable. The Padres started out the series. It was either tied or the Padres were on top by a game. The Padres must have been on top by a game. The Dodgers have won the first 2 games of this series. And I don't know. We got to keep going. If we sweep the Padres in this series, then we sweep the Rockies, because guess what? It's the Rockies. And then sweep the Padres again next series. We will be 7 games. It depends what the Padres do in that series in between. But the Dodgers, if they really lock in this next week, they could secure their spot in the NL West. But yeah, the Giants 11 games back, they're not even 500, and then the Rockies again. I think at when they had 20 wins, I set the over under at 44.5 games, and I think they're gonna hit the over there. We have 30 games left. We have a month and a half left. So let's say we have 40 games left. They have to win 25% of their games. Yeah, I don't know. The Rockies might be trying to come after him. The AL East, the Yankees I feel like have been winning more than that massive slump that they were in, but they are still 6.5 games behind the Blue Jays. But the Blue Jays have been really good recently. The Red Sox are a game and a half ahead of the Yankees. You have the Rays 12 games back, and then the Orioles 16.5 games back. The Orioles, they had their chance. The last 2 years, they actually had their chance. And they threw it all away. They threw it. Now they got to wait another 50 years. And the AL Central, you have the Tigers. They are 8.5 games ahead of the Guardians, which is I feel like they were up by more. I feel like they were. Oh no, it's 8.5. 8.5 games up. The White Sox 28 games back. They're at 44 wins. Nobody's talking about the White Sox because of the Rockies, but the White Sox, hey, you guys still suck. The AL West, you have the Astros. They're at 60. Is that the only division without a team at 70 wins? Yeah, of course it is. The Astros are leading the AL West by a game and a half against the Mariners. They're going back to back. Hey, the Mariners with Cal Raleigh, the Mariners have an actual shot at winning the AL West. But yeah, those are your MLB standings updates. Let's move on to, there we go. I've been wanting to talk about this. I have spent the last probably month to month and a half completely rebranding HatTrick Sports, and starting today, Sunday, August 17th, the logo has officially changed. Now, if you guys remember, our logo was the HatTrick Sports Podcast, but now officially, by the time that this comes up on TikTok Live, it's still going to be the HatTrick Sports Podcast. But by the time the podcast comes up, all social media, all logos, everywhere you see will have a new logo. The logo that I am wearing on the shirt, the logo on the website, all of our social media of HatTrick Sports. It's a better, it's not much of a difference from the last logo, but it's more recognizable, and it allows us to expand the brand a little bit more. It says HatTrick Sports bigger, so you can read it better. It still has the same balls. It has the basketball, football, and 2 baseballs or whatever, except bigger, so it's a more recognizable brand, and we can use that as kind of the square logo. But with this new logo comes a new website. We completely redid the entire website that will now officially be up for all of our merchandise, podcasts. It has all sorts of different tabs everywhere. At shophattricksports.com. Again, it's been down for a couple months now. I've been working on it, but you got a whole bunch of merch and stuff. It's not 100%, but it's enough to have it up and running. Like I said, with the new logo, you won't see any of the HatTrick Sports Podcast logo on any of the merch. New hats, new shirts, the new logo will be everywhere. And with this new website comes a promo code. If you are one of the first 25 people to use this promo code, you will get 25% off using code FIRST25. Only the first 25 people that use this promo code will get 25% off their entire order on shophattricksports.com. So make your way over to shophattricksports.com, go to the merch tab, check out the website in general, again, and use code SPORTS25 for 25% off your order. Also on the website, you will see a tab with the podcast where you can listen to podcasts wherever you want to listen to podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbeam, your Amazon Alexa. We have it all linked there. There's an About Us tab, where you could contact us, all sorts of stuff on this new website. I'm excited to release this. Again, been working on it for quite some time, but the big thing is the logo. Now, with this kind of rebranding, new logo and stuff, the HatTrick Sports Podcast will still have the logo that you've all seen with the HatTrick Sports Podcast, but that logo will only be associated with this podcast itself. Same thing with Lock of the Day, how we have that Lock logo, and then with American Sports History. I have some other ideas in mind for new, like expanding the brand and stuff, but we'll get there when we get there with that. But that logo's still there. It's just for the podcast itself. Same with Lock of the Day and American Sports History. So give the website check out the website, shophattricksports.com. Use code FIRST25 for 25% off your first order. And let me know what you guys think of it. Let me know what you guys think. I'm excited about this and can't wait to see what you guys think. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, like I said, there's some minor details wrong with it. I'm going to try to fix it before it goes up, and if not, I'll fix it along the way. There's some stuff I'm still trying to figure out with building the website in general. But yeah, should be good. At least check it out. If you don't buy anything, just check it out. Let me know how it looks and what you guys think of it. All right, let's move on to the top 5 players with the most home runs in a single MLB season. All right, so all of these guys have asterisks on them. All of these guys took steroids. But at number 5, you have Sammy Sosa with 60. No, I wrote that wrong. What does Sammy Sosa have? Yeah, with 64 home runs in 2001. And actually 2 years before that, he hit 63 home runs in 1999. But to make the top 5, he had to get to 64, and that is what he did in 2001. At number 4, Mark McGwire. He had 65 home runs in 1999. Again, that is 2 more than Sammy Sosa had in 1999. It was the steroid era. Everybody was taking steroids, hitting them 500 feet. You can't really do that anymore, and that is why every single guy on this list took steroids. They all have asterisks. And I'm going to make sure, when I'm editing, I'm going to make sure I put the asterisks. At number 3, again, I said it before, but Sammy Sosa, he hit 66 home runs in 1998. He did, so that was in 1998. In 2001, 3 years later, he hit the 64 home runs. That's why he's on this list twice. At number 2, the runner-up, Mark McGwire, again, this was the year before his 65 home run season. He hit 70 home runs in 1998. And then, to nobody's surprise, Barry Bonds, 73 home runs in 2001. I don't think this record will, I'm not going to say ever be broken, because Aaron Judge had the 62, and I feel like somebody in the next 100 years is going to have a better season than that. But Barry Bonds, 73 home runs in 2001. Big asterisk there, but he has had the most home runs in a single season by any player. All right, let's move on to the NBA. The NBA announced their schedule. We're going to go over important dates and stuff. The regular season will begin October 21st with the Oklahoma City Thunder, who actually just won the finals. They will be playing Kevin Durant's new team, the Rockets, So yeah, it will be the Thunder and Rockets playing against each other, and then LeBron James and Luka Doncic with the Lakers will be playing Steph Curry with the Warriors. That is a good matchup. That's always a good matchup. The Lakers and Warriors, they will play each other on October 21st when the regular season officially begins. That's not far away. That's August, September. So that's, 2 months away? And then you got, you got some guys in new jerseys, new teams, same guys, new teams. You have Chris Paul returning to the Clippers, Miles Turner's with the Bucks, and Porzingis with the Hawks. So it will be the Clippers and Bucks and whoa. No. Those aren't guys playing against each other. Those are just guys with new jerseys. Cooper Flagg, the number 1 overall pick. Cooper Flagg will be facing off against Dylan Harper and Victor Wembanyama in the opening week with the Mavericks playing the Spurs. Let's go over to let's see. In just over a month, preseason will begin. The Christmas schedule, there will be 5 games on December 25th. You have the Cavs playing the Knicks in the early game. Then you have Spurs and Thunders at 2:30. You have the Rockets and Lakers at 8. Mavericks, Warriors at 5. That is, I don't know why that's out of order. But yeah, you have the Mavs and Warriors at 5, Rockets and Lakers at 8, and then the Timberwolves and Nuggets as the night game at 10:30. Jeez, 10:30 is late, though. Like, bro. When and where will the All-Star Game be? The NBA All-Star Game will take place February 15th, home of the Lakers. I don't know, because I feel like they change that format every year now. That's just, you see that in every league with the All-Star. You see that in... not so much MLB, but in the NFL, NHL, and NBA, they always change up like the format and stuff. It's kind of hard to keep up sometimes. But I don't know what they're planning on doing there, but it will be in LA. But that is just the NBA released their schedule. Got to talk about that. Let's move on to one second. Let me get to the tab. Who will be the Super Bowl 2026 halftime performer? Obviously, Taylor Swift was just on New Heights podcast, and everybody is hinting at Taylor Swift being the performer for Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco. And I'm not so much of a conspiracy theorist. I don't really believe in all that stuff, whatever. But these Swifties have it all locked in. Every number means something different to them. And, I was going on social media, and they have some pretty valid arguments. Now, some of them are stretched, but I'm just going to name them out for you guys. So, Taylor Swift was obviously on New Heights, Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce's podcast, releasing her new album, something about a showgirl. I don't really know. I don't listen. I can't name 3 Taylor Swift songs if I tried. But yeah, she released her album on there, and there were some things that she said that didn't make a whole lot of sense. And so obviously all the Swifties went onto social media. Hey, this means this, that, and the other. So it's like, okay, I'll give it a chance. I'll hear you out. And they had some pretty valid arguments. Let's go, the ones that actually make sense to me. So Taylor Swift was talking about her love of baking and making sourdough bread and how it's, she said, and I quote, "I'm really talking about bread 60% of my time now." And that's just a weird percentage. And then you're talking about sourdough on a podcast about sports, but you're releasing your album. Like, what does sourdough have to do with this? So what all of the Taylor Swift fans are hinting at is that it is Super Bowl 60. So she's thinking about it 60% of the time. The Super Bowl will be played in the 49ers stadium, where their mascot is Sourdough Sam. So she was talking about sourdough because it will be played in San Francisco with the mascot being Sourdough Sam. So that was the first thing. I was like, yeah, that is kind of weird. Like, the percentage is what was really weird with the 60%, but maybe it was just a coincidence. All right, so maybe it's just a coincidence. So then she goes on to say, the sourdough thing, then, the 60% meant the Super Bowl 60. Another potential Super Bowl Easter eggs, that's what she's calling them. She's calling them Easter eggs. She said Jason Kelce had, when announcing Taylor Swift onto the podcast, it took 2.5 minutes. I watched the first 5 minutes, then turned it off, but it took like 2.5 minutes for Jason Kelce to go through all the accomplishment and basically announcing Taylor Swift on the podcast. Think about that. 2 minutes, that's like 120 seconds. But Taylor Swift said that he was screaming for 47 seconds. Again, it's a little weird. It was a lot more than 47 seconds. But what these Taylor Swift fans are saying is that on the Eras Tour that Taylor Swift just wrapped up, her 47th show was at the 49ers Stadium, and that is where the Super Bowl is going to be. There was all sorts of like Easter eggs and stuff with that. It's weird to think about, but yeah, it's a little too weird to be a coincidence. And I think that, I don't know, Travis Kelce playing in the Super Bowl, if the Chiefs were to make the Super Bowl next year, I don't think that would be that hard for Taylor Swift just to perform. She watched the last one when they lost, and I think Travis Kelce is like, hey, I don't want her to watch me lose again. Be in the back practicing your halftime performance while I'm here losing the Super Bowl. So, again, I think it's a little bit of a stretch. They have to announce it here in the next month. I feel like it's in the first week of the regular season where they usually announce the Super Bowl halftime performer. But if it's Taylor Swift, I called it. Or the Swifties called it, and I kind of copied them. But yeah, that is going to do it for the 112th episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast. Again, make sure to check out shop.HatTrickSports.com for all merch. All the shirts and stuff are under $25. You can get hoodies, hats, water bottles, anything you could ever want. It is on shop.HatTrickSports.com where you could watch all the podcasts, all the different series. Everything is on that website. You can listen to our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, YouTube for all the visuals. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and along with that, we will also be posting on Facebook. I forgot to talk about that earlier, but we will now be posting on Facebook and Twitter all of our short-form content, and we will see you guys next week for episode 113.